Dread it, run from it, destiny arrives all the same.
Hi, I'm your dad, but I died and I'm a robot now.
Hi, I'm Peter Parker.
Hey, Peter Parker. You got something for me?
My mother always tells me to smile and put on a happy face.
Don't freeze.
I never freeze.
Guys like you give Metropolis a bad name.
Oh, mother fucking!
We're live.
What's up, guys, and welcome to the DC vs. Marvel podcast, where we talk about the latest DC and Marvel movie news. My name is Uz, aka Uziman Diaz, and once again in the red corner representing Marvel Comics.
Oh yeah.
It's my boy Ed, aka Eddie Brock, on his second podcast of the day, man. And in high spirits as well.
Always gotta bring the energy, man. We gotta get people excited. We're in down times right now.
That is true, man. That is true. I was speaking to Salim earlier, and I was like, even though there's all this stuff that potentially I could now watch on, like, you know, the streaming services and stuff like that, I just don't feel like I actually want to watch anything. I'm just in this kind of like, funk kind of thing. That's
the problem I've had with Ozark. Season 3's up. Show that I've been really anticipating watching. It's been there for almost, since the weekend or last week, whatever. But I just can't press play on it. Like, I just can't get in the headspace to do it. I'm thinking, I know this is going to be a heavy show. I just can't get. I'm not ready yet. I'm safe for the weekend.
Yeah. We need something, uplifting and upbeat, and kind of as opposed to what that would be, man. So yeah. Apart from that, pretty much all of us, I guess, and I say all of us, and I'm talking about like globally, basically, are in some kind of quarantine or lockdown or whatever you want to call it, around the globe, man. And it's madness, man. I've been talking to like family members and stuff about this. Like, this is something that, our parents' generation can't say that they've had anything like this. Grandparents, yeah, because they had the Second World War and stuff, right? Yeah. But our parents, no freaking way, man. There's nothing that they went through in those years that's comparable to this crazy ass shit.
They've lost all authority now when they try to tell us something to do. Like, you haven't been through this. Gran, you get it, Gran. But get away, man.
Yeah, it's true, man. It's true, because I mean, if you've lived through Second World War and stuff, yeah, then maybe, but otherwise, nothing, man. 60s, 70s, that's some jokes time compared to what's going on here.
Acid and weed and rock and roll.
Yeah, exactly. And people bring up the Cuban Missile Crisis and stuff, but it's like, mate, come on now. That's nothing compared to that mission. So that being said, what have you been up to, man, in the world of DC, Marvel, etc.?
I've been doing a rewatch of Deadly Class, an Image comic TV show adaptation that I was speaking about a few episodes back. I just want to rewatch it again, so I just really enjoy it. Like, it's based in the 80s, cool 80s music, crazy action and violence, but it's just a fun, enjoyable show. Yeah.
Have you been? Did you get Disney Plus?
I did, actually. The only thing I've
watched.
Actually, I did watch. I did start rewatching X-Men, the original animated show.
The cartoon. Yeah. Oh, the animated show.
Yeah.
What? And that's topical. That's topical, man. Because I kind of just hope Bishop will turn up at some point and just like reverse all this shit, man.
Take it all back.
Yeah, exactly, man. We need Bishop and Cable to turn up and just stop this crazy ass virus.
Yeah, the way this virus has been traveling around the world, you kind of think it was a mutant that has that ability to just secrete viruses and bacteria, just traveling around the world, just slowly just infecting everybody.
Exactly, man. Exactly. It's like I remember watching the X-Men cartoon back in the day, and there was like there was there's Bishop. Bishop, when he came back, was like, this action of killing the senator is going to be gonna unleash this mutant plague, and the whole world's gonna get screwed, and I need to stop this thing from happening, right? And then like Cable came back, and Cable's like 1,500 years in the future, and he's like, yeah, if unless I stop Bishop, then something's gonna happen in my time that's gonna screw up the whole thing, and everybody's like, mate, we don't give a shit what happens 1,500 years in the future. You know what I mean? I could not give a shit what happens there. But yeah, that was such a cool show, man. Is there anything else that you're finding that is good on Disney Plus, or any of the shows come out yet, or?
Nah, nothing else, nothing new. The only other thing I've been watching is the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. I just decided to just sit down and rewatch all of those. Got one left.
Pirates of the Caribbean. Yeah, that that took a downturn at I think was it the third or the fourth one? What's the one with Penelope Cruz in it?
Oh, that's the fourth one. Yeah, that's the fourth one.
That,
Definitely the worst so far. I think from 3 they get a bit funky.
Yeah. It's just
Just
I
focus,
think though, I guess. Yeah, definitely. They need to focus on him, but there was a reason why they didn't focus on him, but maybe that might be changing now. I would
expect that it would. But yeah, guys, you never watched Deadly Class, go hunt it out. Sci-Fi in the US, I don't know what streaming services have it. Over here, you can watch it on Amazon/Stars, but it's worth a watch.
Yeah.
X-Men doesn't hold up as well as you'd imagine. The animation is real ropey, but still fun. Especially the fact that it just continues as one ongoing story. It's not just Adventure of the Week, which most cartoons back then were.
Yeah. I mean, the thing that I comparing the two, because I've watched both of them kind of recently, the Spider-Man one, which came out around the same time, and the X-Men. Yeah. I think the Spider-Man holds up better. Even though I used to love like X-Men, the cartoon, like the Spider-Man stuff is, a lot of it is kind of timeless, it's and it just kind of is just like, it speaks to everybody there as well, so that I get, is that going to be coming on at some point? I would assume
there was a bunch of Spider-Man cartoons on there. I'm not sure which one that one is. There's so many of them, I wasn't sure which one. I did check out actually one that I used to watch when I was a little kid. I think it's from the 80s. Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, I believe it was. It was Spider-Man with Iceman and Firestar. So I was reliving those memories.
Oh my goodness, I remember that one. And I was always kind of like, how come Iceman is... He just used to create these like bridges, right?
He just slid around on bridges, leaving ice, this dangerous... Gotta be, I don't know how much they would weigh though, but cars must be driving into those. It must be falling on people and pedestrians on the street. The most irresponsible superhero, I swear.
Yeah, because part of it would have melted and the rest would have just fallen on somebody's head, right?
Exactly.
Basically just, he didn't give a shit. He's actually a villain. Yeah. He literally is the actual villain, man. He's. Have you heard of a film called Freaks, which has just come out?
Freaks, no.
Freaks is like, it's like a. Imagine if Blumhouse did New Mutants. Ooh. That's what it's like. It's quite interesting. It's quite an interesting kind of thing. It's like kids with these kind of like mutant powers, and they don't know how to control them and stuff like that.
But wasn't that Chronicle?
If you can, pardon?
Wasn't that Chronicle?
It's just come out.
Yeah, but I mean, it's that sort of is like Chronicle with that sort of concept.
No, yeah, because in Chronicle they discover that alien artifact or whatever, don't they? These are much younger kids. They're like 11, 12 years old.
Oh,
kind of
damn.
thing.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, and I don't know if you know many 11, 12-year-old kids, but basically like some of them can be like little shits, basically. So if you give them a certain power, like especially ones that want to bully other kids and stuff like that, then it can turn up crazy. So if you can go and check that mission out, because I saw the trailer down, I thought that seems quite interesting, man. So otherwise, apart from that, I've pretty much been up to absolutely nothing in terms of DC Marvel. apart from one thing, right? Which basically, I turned on Netflix the other day, right? And for some reason, as soon as I turn Netflix on, you know, they have those little trailers or whatever. It kind of just plays as soon as you turn it on or whatever, right? Black Lightning came on, right? And I looked at it and I thought, I don't know. Should I just? I want something really just like something that I can just kind of have in the background kind of thing, and then watch. I thought, okay, let me have a look at this. So I looked at this and I watched 5 minutes of this. I thought, this is not
Did
great.
you never watch the first one?
And yeah, I watched the first series. Yeah, I watched the first
you watched
series,
the whole series?
right?
Jeez, I only watched the pilot.
I watched the whole first series because I thought, okay, maybe this might get better, right? So this is on series 3. And then it's kind of like, this is a problem with being a proper like fan of stuff. Kind of like Mo is with Star Trek. You see certain things that come up, and it's like this things are just pinging off in your brain, right? So in this, service. Yeah. So this is what's happening in Black Lightning at the moment. They've got Markovia, which basically is a fictional kind of like country, and in this fictional country, they basically banned anybody who had powers, and they actually, it's kind of like a cover, because what they are doing is they're getting anyone with powers and then weaponizing them, you know, to be used as like part of their army and stuff like that. And what they do is now they're kind of like trying to invade Freeland as an undercover army. Yeah. So you got Black Lightning and his crew are trying to stop these like super soldier kind of people from Markovia. And it wasn't terrible, right, compared to a lot of the other CW stuff that I'd seen. So I watched one episode of that, and then I kind of watched 10 minutes of the next episode, and I thought, okay, it's not too bad. And then it kind of fell off a cliff towards the end of the episode, right? And then I was like, okay, do I watch the conclusion of this thing? So I'm still contemplating whether I'm going to see the end part. But,
did you ever watch Gifted?
Gifted, no.
It was Fox's show that was loosely based within the X-Men universe.
No, I never saw that.
It has something similar. It's actually a good show. I'm bummed that it's not on Disney Plus yet. Hopefully it will be soon. But yeah, it has a similar thing where they were gathering up. I guess it takes place after the X-Men have gone away, but before Logan's time. And it's basically in a time where mutants are being hunted down and they're being, you know, registered, and a lot of them are being recruited into, similar to that, like an army being weaponized by the government. So
yeah,
similar concept. Worth checking if it crosses your path.
Yeah,
though. I liked it.
Yeah. This is the thing. Like, a lot of these interesting shows are probably worth a visit for me. Now I think, seeing as the fact that actually just doing absolutely nothing, you know, whatsoever for the foreseeable future, you know what I mean? So, so that is the thing. Like, unlike a lot of people where it's kind of like they can still work from home, it's impossible for me to work from home. So I'm literally just like, at the moment we've got the kids still doing online school, but after that, that's it. There's gonna be nothing going on. So yeah, I will check out those missions, man. So, I guess we have to talk about this, because even though we don't want to put the show on too much of a downer, we won't dwell on this too much. The effect of Corona on the shows and films is crazy, right? So we now heard that Sony are kind of like putting a lot of their films in 2021. And obviously Morbius is one of them. Didn't hear anything about Venom 2. Also haven't heard anything about Eternals yet either. So
I heard that they are doing special effects for that. They're actually continuing doing the effects. So I don't know how far they got with shooting it. I don't know if they actually completed that or not, but at least they're doing something with it.
Well, the thing is, like, you know, the people who are you know, the virologists or whatever who are talking about this kind of stuff, a lot of them are saying like, you know, this is going to continue till September, right? So obviously a lot of these companies are kind of like forward planning, right? Now, if your thing is continuing till September, and you know that there's going to be like a little bit of a lull, and then around Christmas time, if it is September, around Christmas time, there's going to be a mad rush of people just going out to try and experience the outdoors and stuff that we haven't had for like months, because it always happens, right? So I think some of these
do you think people are going to rush to the cinema though? Do you think people could be like shell shocked from this whole thing, and that some people may be a little wary to go back into like a big crowded place like that?
I think some people would, but this is the thing, right? And we always say this, and I don't mean to say this in a arrogant or facetious way, but you kind of sometimes overestimate how intelligent the general public is, right? And how much they kind of like feel that, oh, I'm being restricted. So I went to a shop a couple of days ago, and you know, I was kind of like, I was feeling a bit wary. So, you know, I had basically like, you know, full joggers on, and my gloves on, and was just like keeping the hell away from everybody, pretty much going to all the self checkouts and stuff like that. And then I saw this dude come in, and he was like, he's in t-shirt, shorts, flip flops, like he's like proper getting into like the workers' faces, saying like, oh yeah, where is this, love? Where's the corn? Where's the frozen peas, love? Like that. And you can see they're like, what the hell? Get the hell away from me. Right? And he's like, and then he walked over to like the fridge section where I was, right? And he's coming closer to me, and I was thinking, bro, don't come close to me. Yeah, right. He's getting closer and closer, and then he goes, I only came in for some effing milk. Is there milk in here, mate? And I was like, okay, you kind of don't know what the hell is going on in the country right now. But the funny thing is, there are literally, and I would say tens to hundreds of thousands of people who are like that. Right, who will literally just be like, we got freedom now, let's go and have a barbecue, let's go to the park, let's go down to the beach.
Dumbasses that that you hear on the news that are gathering for parties at people's houses that the police have to come and break up. Like, the idiots, they're out there, man.
Yeah, there was on the news, there was somebody was having a barbecue like half a mile from my house, right? and the police had to come and like split it up, because there was like 40 people turned up at the barbecue. It's like some, you know what they should do? Like,
you know what they should do when they hear about this? They should go to the hospital, find someone who's willing, you know, someone who's terminal. Like, I know, you know, you're in your final days, but you're willing to do one mission for us. And they go, yeah. They should take them to that house, open the door, push that guy in, and lock it, and just trap him in there with someone who is infected, and just let rip. Trap him in there.
Wow,
that's justice. Hard decisions need to be made, as I'm willing to make them. Do it.
Yeah, I think I'm glad you're not the Prime Minister at the moment.
Actually,
but yeah, it's kind of.
I didn't mention, but it's actually pretty close, because the woman that I rent my place from, she may actually have it. She's actually gone down with her Salem's sister. She's gone down with her temperature. She hasn't been tested yet, but yeah, she's not doing very. She's feeling pretty crappy. So we shall.
The thing is, around this time, a lot of people get ill and stuff, right? Yeah. And you kind of think to yourself, okay, it's just illness. And now you're just thinking, shit, man.
She's a carer.
You know, has it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
it's the same. Yeah, exactly. So you need to keep yourself safe then, I guess. Yeah. Sometimes you kind of think, okay, the thing is, now they're saying it's all about the amount of virus you get exposed to. So if you get exposed to one person and you get it, you're probably all right, because then at that point you'll have a crappy flu, you'll get over it, and you'll be better. Yeah. If you get exposed to 20, 30, 40 people who have got it, that's when you're in the shit, because you're continuously being exposed.
Well, the young boxers are getting this stuff, isn't it?
Exactly, which is why I'm just thinking these jokers want me to go and work down there. Yeah, I don't know whether it's a good idea or not, man.
So, what did you think of the first glimpses of Carnage? If you could make out which body part each thing was. I think I could only really make out the hand.
Yeah. So it's difficult to kind of see, and obviously it's very blurry, right? So it's kind of like is it is it like the tentacles that are kind of coming out, or is it like what exact part of it? But I guess the only thing that I can say about it is it looks like they're not trying to what's the word for it? Make it like movie it, if you know what I mean. So like Carnage is a very bright red kind of color, basically, right? And and if you think about it, in a lot of movies they would have made it more like a Daredevil suit kind of color to make it it seems cooler or whatever. In this, it seems like actually they're just like, let's just go.
That's the point. It has to look like blood. It has to move as well. That's what I'm hoping, that when you see it in motion, that it the texture of his skin, it looks like blood's just kind of just moving around all on the surface of his body. Yeah, it really has to be really good CGI to kind of pay off and stuff like that. The question is, what part of the film is that as well? Where is that? And what the storyline is and stuff like that. Because the problem with Sony is they always seem to be like 10 years behind in terms of their stories. So and it's weird because you kind of see certain things that they release and think, actually this is not too bad. But if you want something sophisticated, it's never from Sony. So I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic, as they say, for that. But yeah, we just kind of have to see, man. So it'll be interesting to see what goes on with that. But yeah, like you're saying, Eternals are still kind of going on for there as well. And it seems like pretty much everything otherwise has been decimated. But the thing that I'm concerned about is 2021, right? Now, basically, like all of us are going to be broke by the end of the year because we're going to spend all the money that we have. And then 2021 comes around and there's like 10 trillion movies to go and watch. I don't know how they're going to schedule this, man. No movie's going to have room to breathe. Literally, like 1 week something's going to come out, the next week something's going to... It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's literally every single week there's just going to be like films coming out. You're going to have Morbius, Venom 2, Batman, Suicide Squad. Suicide Squad 2021, sorry. It's 2021, yeah. So Suicide Squad, Batman, the two scheduled Marvel films, the extra Sony film that is coming out there as well, which is scheduled for 2021 there as well. In addition to all those other films that are going to be coming out there, it's literally going to be week on week, man. There's going to be stuff coming out. So I don't know, but Vin Diesel was posting on his Instagram saying like how well like Bloodshot's doing on VOD and how he's so happy with it. And,
but have you heard that? What's been going on with that? With the Valiant universe? Apparently,
they scrapped it.
Well, Paramount. Well, I didn't know this, but Paramount apparently had the characters before, but they never did anything with them, and they're looking to acquire it back from Sony, and they want to reboot it. So they're already talking about rebooting Bloodshot.
Oh dear, that's the biggest cuss of all time. Literally, like, we're gonna reboot it the minute after your film came out.
Literally just come out.
Wow.
You could go around the city and probably find a poster still up from it being released, and they're already talking rebooting it.
Oh, that's the biggest cuss ever, man. But the thing is, he's completely oblivious to that. He's just going to be like, no, man, such a great success. Like, thanks to all my people around the world who have made this such a big thing, and blah blah blah. So yeah, it's just funny, man. So
I hope they do it, man, because the thing is, what I'm worried about though is actually no. Who makes the Fast and Furious? Is it Universal, isn't it?
Universal.
Yeah. Okay, that's good then. So I'm cool with Paramount doing this, because then at least they've got a chance of getting it right. Get a younger actor in, more accurate, not all ego driven, and you can maybe not even start with Bloodshot. Start with one of the other ones, Hardbinder, or what are the other Valiant characters, Ninjak or something. and then bring
Yeah,
in
I mean-
Bloodshot later.
Bringing Bloodshot. By that time, everybody's forgotten Vin Diesel
Exactly.
exists, hopefully.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, because Paramount needs something now as well, because their biggest earner was the Transformers movies, and they're not moving anytime soon. So they've got nothing at the moment. They tried to obviously launch that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles franchise, and that kind of did okay, but didn't really go anywhere. So obviously now they're looking at, they need something to hang themselves on, because also they're trying Star Trek as well, I think.
Yeah, that's the thing though. It doesn't. Star Trek doesn't appeal in movie form. It doesn't really appeal anymore to the mass audience. Even though the first J.J. Abrams one did good, but not good enough. Really.
Yeah. I mean, I think that was, it was kind of like something new, wasn't it? So everybody was kind of like, okay, yeah, let's go and check this out. But it's never been something that lends really well to cinema anyway. I think all the film ones, apart from a couple of the ones, a couple of the original cast films, all the other ones I've kind of thought, Wrath of Khan and that, what was that other one with the whales? That was interesting as well. But all the other ones have just been never been that great. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they wanted this, but then Vin Diesel will start lobbying, saying, do you want to see Bloodshot come back in this universe? No, thank you very much. No, thank you. So let's go to an interesting thing from basically, which wouldn't have occurred unless there was this lockdown mission that was going on. Basically, there's never been a director's commentary of BVS or Man of Steel, right? And Zack Snyder was like last week, okay, this is the time I'm going to do director's commentary on the Ultimate Edition, right? So he did this commentary, and I haven't actually had time to hear it because it's 3.5 hours long, right? But there are some little highlight things of there that I've kind of taken off that, right? So one of the things was that basically when Superman gets killed at the end, when Doomsday puts the bone spurs through him, he lets out this scream, right? And the scream that he lets out is the thing that alerts the mother box. It sets the mother box off, and because it's like it's a Kryptonian howl, basically. That's what he was saying. So it sets off the mother box, because the mother box is like there's still a Kryptonian around. And then that's kind of it. Basically.
Let me ask, as a Marvel guy, I mean, this may be an obvious question, I don't know, but what significance does a Kryptonian have to the mother boxes? Why would they react to him?
Well, Kryptonian is the only thing that could defeat Darkseid. So that's the only link, really. But that's why it alerts Steppenwolf. So it's kind of like a kind of a counteract to the new gods, basically. Some a species that could fight against them, kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's the reason why later on they try and kidnap Kara and try and make her like the herald of Darkseid, basically, because they're like ridiculously powerful. So that'll be the thing. But like all of these things, man, like when when they said, oh, that kid in Iron Man 3, yeah, he was Spider-Man and stuff. When I see stuff like this, I kind of think, and what Zach's saying now, is it actually a legit thing, or is it something that they've kind of thought of afterwards and then said, okay, this sounds cool if we're saying it? I don't know, because it's difficult to tell how much thought process they're kind of putting into these things. So the other thing was that basically he wanted Wonder Woman front and center in terms of the fight against Doomsday. Basically because she's fought like other beings there before. So it was going to be that initially they were talking about Wonder Woman. They eventually settled on World War One, but they were actually before looking at two different settings. One of them was the Crimean War, and the other one was the American Civil War. And in those, she would have gone and fought against an outer space kind of creature, but they decided to change it basically to the First World War kind of mission. So then because then that continuity would have made more sense. We obviously know about the Lieutenant General Calvin, who's the Martian Manhunter. Everybody kind of knows that now, anyway. And the nightmare sequence there as well. So the nightmare sequence basically was Superman coming to the anti-life equation, and basically he's hunting down Batman there as well, who he blames for the death of Lois. But also they at that point they would have had in a future film Cyborg and Flash continuously, Flash being sent back by the cosmic treadmill to different points in time, and he'd keep going to wrong points in time basically. So he would have existed in that point. And there's a point where he shows that there's this like dust coming up on the side of when Batman is looking over the like this, the city, which has like been totally destroyed, and there's that Omega symbol. You see this dust that is coming up around the edge, and he goes, that was basically Flash running around to try and, basically go back in time to do that. And the whole point was that Batman was going to distract Superman enough so that Flash can go back in time. At some point I will watch that whole thing and then give my own commentary there as well.
There was one thing that I actually heard from this. This is the only thing I heard, is that he was saying the Quantum of Solitude was in Superman's head, Kal-El's head.
The what? Sorry, the
Fortress of Solitude.
Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Was in his head.
Yeah.
It didn't exist.
Yeah.
Okay. Was in his head.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think its quote is said that his version of the Fortress of Solitude was made up in Clark's head. The filmmaker added that.
Because he goes to I thought when he goes to the Kryptonian ship and he finds his suit in Man of Steel.
Yeah, that has to be real.
And then he flies off in that ship, right?
Yeah.
And then that ship goes into the Fortress of Solitude. I don't know, I'm going to have to watch that because that is confusing the hell out of me, man.
Well, we got to sit down and listen to this commentary, man, to make sense of this.
Exactly. We should do some kind of hangout kind of thing, all of us, and then just go through this thing and then see what he says and kind of go from there. I think that would be entertaining, but also at the same time it is 3.5 hours. Had the guy who basically is the showrunner on Loki, and he was on this podcast basically giving like details of it, and he was saying that that he likes these characters who struggle with identity, with who they are and who they kind of want to be, and that is pretty much the kind of like basis of of what the Loki program is, right? So is that kind of what you thought it would kind of be like, or were you thinking like maybe there'll be a different element to that?
Honestly, didn't really know. Out of all of the shows, Loki was the one I really didn't know what to expect. Like I guess it makes sense because it's his show, so he has to come across as a hero in some aspect of it, in some respects. But I wasn't sure how they were gonna do that. So I guess it makes sense. I like it. It's probably the one, if I'm honest, that I'm least excited about, the Loki show.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, it's weird because for me, with the Marvel stuff, I always kind of look for something that I can kind of just watch and just be kind of like just a little bit of entertainment and very like super light-hearted. I look for something very different with Marvel stuff than I do with with kind of DC stuff, and that to me like seems like quite interesting. I just like the fact that okay, he's gonna be a bit mischievous, he's gonna get up to some stupid stuff, but then also at the same time he's gonna be like, maybe I shouldn't have done that, kind of thing. It's gonna for me it's gonna be interesting. Yeah,
to see the consequences.
See the consequences of his actions and stuff like that, man. So there's been a lot of like the Marvel guys and stuff like that. They've been coming and doing. They did a little kind of thing about being in isolation and stuff like that. Talking about how they're with everybody and things, which I thought was quite cool.
I don't want to hear that. These millionaires in their mansions with their massive gardens, swimming pools, and then they're suffering, saying that they're going crazy, being stuck at home. Yeah, right.
No, yeah, that's true. That is true. But it's not as ham-fisted as that other celebrity video that came out, which is like the one where they're singing this. The Imagine one. Oh my goodness! And you know when they did that, they were thinking to themselves, "This is such a good idea. It's going to cheer people up and stuff like that." I was listening to the Joe Rogan podcast, right? And he was saying that you can't say in that song. There's a line, and it says, "Imagine there's no heaven."
Yeah,
right?
yeah, like it wipes. People don't want to be reminded of that.
It's like you can't sing "Imagine There's No Heaven" when someone's grandma just died, she died from corona. It's like imagine there's no heaven. No, you guys have no clue about what's going on, man. It's quite a hilarious mission. And the British comedians did one that was taking the piss out of it there as well, which is called "Imagine There's No Bastards." Like that was hilarious as well. But yeah, let's go. I'm skipping through these things because the news like few and far between. You know what I mean? So that was one thing I forgot about the Snyder thing. One thing that he did say was, he was talking about Superman, Batman, Martian Manhunter, Wonder Woman, and he goes, I really wish there was a sequel to Batman v Superman because I really would have loved to have seen, the way these characters would have progressed and stuff like that, which is basically... It's
true. Yeah. They just rushed, they jumped to it all too quick, man. And I really would have been interested to see what his take on Martian Manhunter would have looked like.
Yeah, really which is basically him taking the piss out of Justice League, saying that there was no sequel to BVS, basically. Speaking of Justice League, the Apocalypse War, which is the next animated film, which is still definitely coming out, is apparently going to be the last DCAU in the current continuity. So
I have a problem with that.
Okay, what's your problem with that?
Thing is, as entertaining as most of the DC animated movies have been, way better than the ones that Marvel made, I admit that, but grudgingly. But I've rarely gotten the sense that they were all linked. I don't think they did a good job with that in terms of them being in one sort of universe, continuity.
Yeah,
it never really felt that way watching those animated. They all just felt like their own thing. Yeah,
you can't watch it and be like, if you have no knowledge of DC, you can't just watch all those films because it's like, what the hell is going on? Pretty much, you'd be like, what the hell's going on? If you're, these films are basically made for people who are big fans anyway, and it kind of cements the fandom kind of thing.
But even then, how much was really being continued from one movie to the next? What consequence story-wise was there from one movie to the next? It just really felt like there was any real connection.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So the only way you can understand this entire thing is to have watched Young Justice, all the seasons of Young Justice. So basically, Young Justice occurs like you've got Series 1 and Series 2, and then Series 3 kind of occurs in the middle, and you've got this new kind of new Teen Titan who goes and joins them called Terra, and then you've got Deathstroke appears in that there as well, and then that leads into the Teen Titans versus Justice League and the other Teen Titans watch. I can't remember. So you basically have to watch all the animated films plus the Justice League, the Young Justice animated TV show to link them together. Because if you don't do that, you can't actually link them together. And that is a hell of a lot of material to watch to link all of that stuff there together.
When did this universe really begin? Was it with Justice League War or something?
It was the Doom or Tower of Babel, whatever they call it.
Yeah, they
so
just didn't really feel like it was thought out. So it doesn't really mean anything to say that this is the end of the continuity.
Yeah.
No, it never really felt like it was one universe anyway.
Exactly. I think what it is basically all of these are based on the New 52. So pretty much they've got the same designs and stuff from the New 52.
Yeah.
All the storylines, whatever. And I would assume that they want to go into the Rebirth stuff. But it does need some kind of continuity to join it all together, because that's where I reckon stuff's going to go, man. You can quite easily make an animated show or an animated, universe very easily. And it's kind of proof to something like this. So, people can work in remote studios and stuff like that. They don't need to be on set. And you can still make these things. So, I kind of think like that's the way that they should say, they should be going, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens with those.
You can do better, Warner. Come on now. Just think through. Jim Lee, come on, baby.
Exactly. So, do you know the original Arrow ending? Did we talk about this last time? I can't remember.
The original Arrow ending? You mean the Smallville Arrow?
No. So, Arrow, the new
CW
Arrow
one.
series,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. So originally they planned that basically that was going to end, right? And it was going to be before they made Batwoman and Supergirl. It was going to be Arrow and the Flash, and it was going to continue for about 3 seasons each, right? And then what would happen is that at the end of Arrow, Oliver Queen, because of his actions and stuff like that, he'd die basically, right? So he'd end up dying protecting the city and stuff, right? And stopping it from having problems. And what that would have done is that would have inspired a young Bruce Wayne to then decide to protect his city in the same way.
Huh?
Yeah.
As in a spin-off Batman.
Yeah, as in Batman would have come off Arrow because they were hoping by then that they would have had the rights to produce something like that. And basically after that kind of final bit where Oliver Queen would have died, it would have been Bruce Wayne, who would have been 25 to 30 by that time, would have been inspired by him. And I guess they were kind of looking at Arrow is quite a lot older than the Batman in most of the continuity. Some of them he's quite an oldish dude. So that would have been the inspiration kind of thing. So
I don't like the idea that Arrow was the one, especially CW Arrow was the one that inspired Batman. It just makes me feel dirty.
That's exactly the same. Exactly my thoughts as well. If it was doing that, I would have been like, what the actual hell
It's crazy
is that?
though. After all these years, we've never had a Batman live action TV show. Not since the 66 or whenever that original one was.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
wow. It's like they treat it so precious just for the movies. I get it because it is their moneymaker as far as DC is concerned. But still, it's curious.
Yeah, I don't think they want to bring it to TV because they're kind of just like, there are so many things that they could bring though. They could have what they need is they need that film and then have a spin-off that comes off that, so they can Nightwing spin-off off that or whatever.
I always had an idea. You have the Batman movie and the spin-off show would be Gotham PD. You have like a based in the precincts. You can have the corruption. You could tell that. You could have like villains coming in like Two-Face or I don't know, Riddler or someone, but they could just be, or smaller villains, but it'd be like a cop procedural.
Yeah. What, like Law and Order?
Yeah, but better written, not as cheap.
But better,
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds pretty cool because then you could have all of the villain characters, all the hero characters, and you wouldn't have to have the ridiculous budget that are required for a Batman film or whatever.
It gives the cops that have only little bit parts in the movies something to do when they go into the TV shows. So you can have that familiarity. Keep Gordon as well. He could be on both. Dude, it could be wicked if they did that. Gotham.
That could actually be awesome. That could be awesome because you could have Harvey Bullock and Harvey Bullock and Renee Montoya and how they actually hate Batman because he keeps coming in and bloody messing with their investigations and stuff like that.
Even bring Vicky Vale in it, man. Why the hell not?
Vicky Vale, yeah, she could be investigating stuff. It'd be awesome, man. You need to get that down in writing and send it to somebody, because instead of that, right now we have something even more. This is the thing. So you're telling me this idea, okay, right, which is actually a very good idea and could work very well, okay, but instead DC Comics decide to give carte blanche to writers like they have of Gotham High, right? So have you seen anything about Gotham High?
No, I haven't, but tell me.
Okay, so dude, so you know what? Firstly I have to apologize, right? And I have to apologize not only to you but also to generally to Marvel, because I also I believe in karma, right? Sometimes, like, if you take the piss out of somebody, they're just gonna come back on you. So last week, I was taking the piss because you guys had this flipping, New Warriors that came out and these stupid ass characters in there, and I was like, oh my god, man, it's so stupid. But now DC's done something even dumber, like so dumb, right? And it's okay. So Gotham High is a story about three high school. It's basically about high school in Gotham, and it's about three. How do I say this without laughing? It's got three main characters in it. Okay, the main guy is Bruce Wayne, who's an Asian billionaire. His parents are billionaires, right? And he's an Asian billionaire, and he has two friends. One of his friends is Jack Napier, right? Who is right? Who unlike Bruce Wayne, not only are his parents billionaires, but also he is an Instagram superstar. He has millions of followers on Instagram that follow his every whim, right? Okay. Jack Napier, on the other hand, goes to the same high school, okay, but he's from the other side of the tracks. He has no money. He's a bit of a bad boy, but people like him because he's a bad boy, right? Now also, check this out, because this is a film that I've heard you say that you like, okay? So check out the clues of this. Now we have a character who's in the middle, and her name is Selina Kyle, okay? Now she is Selina Kyle, she's in the middle, and she's kind of like trying to get through with stuff that is going on at high school. However, she is in love with Bruce, and Bruce is like her boyfriend, but also she's in love with Jack Napier, and she's also Jack Napier's girlfriend at the same time, right? Okay. So this is like Twilight, yeah? This is like Batman in Twilight. Okay. Okay, so this is that's the joke. That's not even the bad bit. No.
Oh, come on,
the bad bit is this, yeah. The bad bit is the blurb from the from the writer, which says this. Oh, sorry, I've got to compose myself. Which says that Jack Napier, Bruce Wayne, and Selina Kyle are in a three-way relationship, right? In a love triangle, okay? However, they evolve into a relationship where all three of them are known to each other, and this becomes a LGBT pansexual arrangement between the three of them. This is okay. So basically, I'm not lying to you, bro. This is the thing. This is what I say. I cussed you guys last week, and I've just got it back 100 times worse. So basically, Bruce Wayne is in a relationship with Jack Napier and Selina Kyle. Selina Kyle's in a relationship with Bruce Wayne and Jack Napier, and they're all in a relationship together. Yeah. and this is what, if you give an idiot the property of Batman, Joker, and Catwoman, what an idiot would write.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got Bruce Wayne, Kim, 'cause he's Asian.
Yeah. Yeah.
A young Catwoman and a young Joker in a polyamorous relationship. That is nutty. And I guess they fall out and become lifelong enemies. What the
Yeah, so...
And I bet Harley Quinn's going to be like the girl on the side that has her eye on Jack Napier, but he ignores her. I bet you. Oh my God.
You want to read this now, don't you? You want to read this.
Is this just going to be a book, or are they doing this as a show?
This is a book. So this is a book that's coming out.
God, I thought they was going to do this live action, man. You had my hopes up for a minute. God.
Oh, no. Live action, just every DC fan would be like, oh my God, what the hell are you doing, man? It was just, I mean, we're saying that anyway, but there is slight hope on the horizon. Like, you know, we try and bring hope, even though there's all this mission that is going on with coronavirus and stuff. The slight hope on the horizon is this, that basically Diamond Comics, which is the only distributor now for pretty much all comics in the US. They pretty much distribute all the Marvel, all the DC stuff, Image Comics, Dark Horse, pretty much everything, right? Yeah. These guys are in serious trouble, like serious trouble. So they rely on basically comic book sales continuously, and what happens is that they go and buy a whole lot from Marvel and DC, and then what they do is they go and distribute it. And then what they do is they provide payments to the sellers, and then the sellers will basically go and sell all the stuff there, and then they take the profit. The problem is they've now told all of the comic book stores that they are supplying that they're withholding payments, right, until the end of the coronavirus stuff, which will kill off every single comic book store everywhere in the United States.
So it makes sense, because I heard that DC weren't shipping out comics until the end of the month or something.
Yeah, so Diamond Distribution is the one that distributes all the comics, right? So they basically have the right to kind of, even though they don't manufacture it, they have the right to distribute everything. Yeah. And they're withholding the payments, and the rumors are that they're in deep shit with finances. So if they go down, there was a time about 5 years ago when Marvel decided to distribute their own stuff, and then they decided not to, probably because they're business people and they realized that it actually makes no money to do that. Yeah. So now obviously Diamond do it, and Diamond are in trouble. But if there's any hope on the horizon, then this stupid ass book will never get distributed to any comic book. I will never be read by anyone ever.
Legit question: how long do you reckon comic books are gonna physical comic books are gonna be a thing? Because even the other day I was piling up on comic books for me to read, so I just want to get back into it, because I realized that I kind of fallen off the wagon of reading stuff every week or every month. So I was just getting stuff, and I was just putting them all on my my tablet.
Yeah.
Physical. How long do you think physical comic books are still gonna be a thing?
I think the thing is that the whole thing of it has changed, because it's actually like nobody really reads them anymore. Yeah. What they do is they go and they buy one, and then it just sits in the sleeve, and they're waiting for that to become worth something. So all that it's going to do is they're doing this stupid ass cycle where they just keep releasing number ones and and special editions. You know, they'll go to like a store like Walmart or something like that and say, oh, we can make you a special edition cover for Walmart. And then all the collectors will go and buy that. So I think it's just going to turn into a complete collector's market. So it's going to be like, there's going to be a few things that are coming out, and they're going to have just like variant cover after variant cover. And that's basically it. You're going to have like a few core titles. And even that, after a while, is going to end up dying out, because there's just, the problem is, like, you look at something like Disney. So Disney has got like, they've got their films, they've got their merchandise, they've got their cruise liners, their theme parks, right? Yeah, and basically everything links into each other. So they, it's like, okay, you're more likely to go to a theme park if you like their film, if you like their merchandise, all that kind of stuff. Now, the problem is that generally, Disney can keep the Marvel stuff on the shelf just to say, like, okay, here's like an advert of Spider-Man. It's a cheap way of them to do an advert. Whereas DC can't do that. They can't just put on, let's put a Nightwing on the shelf or a Harley Quinn on the shelf, because what is that advertising? You're losing money by doing that all the time. So I think eventually it's going to fade to several titles that they want to, that are really popular, and movie or show times. I think that's where it's going. But the independent comic shop, man, that they ain't gonna last more than a year. Especially now, they're all gonna die off now, which is kind of sad.
Kids just ain't buying shit, are they? It's all about games for them, man. It's all gaming.
It's all gaming, yeah. Which is why I think DC and
do your kids read? Did they read your collection? Do you let them? Do you buy stuff specifically for them? They interested?
They do read like the kiddie stuff, the Batman Adventures and stuff like that, which is more kind of kiddified. But I don't let them see some of the other things because some of the characters are like overly sexualized, like Poison Ivy and like Catwoman and stuff like that, and it's just like nah. And there's some of them are, I obviously wouldn't want them to see like the Joker cutting his face off. Stuff like that. But they do read like the other stuff. But it's different, man. Different people have different things. Like my kids, they don't have much technology. They don't use much technology, whereas other people's kids use a lot of tech, and they won't just want to sit down and read a comic book. Especially because comic books actually are very short. They're not like a graphic novel, which, will keep you like an hour or a couple of hours to read. Comic book you can get done in like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And then it's like, well, what's the next thing to do, So, that's the thing. I think they're all going to go. But hopefully, we'll get movies and other tie-ins to come off that. I think what they should really do is put big productions into motion comics.
Yeah, they were doing it for a minute, and then they just stopped doing it. I remember there was a time where it was they were cool. I used to like watching those on YouTube.
Yeah, because there's stuff like you said to me a while back, go and check out Game of Thrones lore on YouTube, right? So I was watching that, and I was thinking, man, they could literally do something like this, and it would be so popular. Like people would just watch it because they want to know all the histories.
There was a couple of Batman ones. What was it? I can't remember the name of the titles, but there was a few Batman ones I remember seeing. They were cool. Yeah. And there was Marvel did a few, but they just seem to just stop doing it for some reason.
Yeah, and when you see these guys like Comic Historian and stuff like that, the stuff that they're doing is really entertaining.
Yes.
So I'm not surprised that like people, they don't just capitalize on it and say, you know what, because these guys, like the Comic Historian and the Comics Explain guy and stuff like that, are actually on the DC and Marvel panels in the when they come to the Comic-Con and stuff, right? Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, they do know of these people, so it's like, why don't they take that model? Yeah. It's fairly cheap to produce, and they've already got the material, and then just do it. They can put their own official music. Can you imagine, like, Batman stuff with, like, the Dark Knight soundtrack, the official Dark Knight soundtrack behind it, properly done, and really, like, actors, like, voicing the parts and stuff like that. It's an easy thing to do. I think that would be the thing if they were clever to put in the future, because a lot of kids would just watch that on YouTube and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So that is the thing. So
do you ever listen to graphic audiobooks?
Graphic, I do sometimes. Yeah, I do listen to audiobooks. I've kind of fallen off that a little bit because just there's so many podcasts to catch up on nowadays.
That's true.
But yeah, the audiobooks I used to listen to quite a bit. The ones that I really got into was more novels, like the Star Wars ones and stuff like that. Okay. Like the Thrawn and trilogy and all those kind of things. I really used to love those.
I've listened to the Batman ones though, or the 52. I think they did one. Graphic audio did. Like, they were really good.
No, I haven't.
Full cast, full music. They were great. They were
Yeah.
great. Go hunt them down if you ain't
Awesome.
never listened to them. Iconic stories. Graphical. They'll go watch them. But then they ended their deal with DC. I don't know why they didn't re-up, and then they started doing Marvel ones instead. But I have to admit, the DC ones were just a lot more fun, especially 52.
Yeah, I'll definitely go and check that out. I think because even the ones like the Alien ones and stuff like that, they're just like so well done. They could do so many of these stories, man. So many options they could go to, but I don't know. The thinking needs to change quite a bit, man. Let's go on to our last story, which is of Black Widow, right? So Black Widow, I thought this was quite interesting because obviously they've now delayed it. Have they given a date to it? I can't remember.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so. No.
Well, it was basically delayed for this year anyway, and what they've done is that they've decided to change the composer. So the original composer, and I apologize to any French people because I'm gonna destroy this guy's name, Alexandre Desplat, Desplat, which I assume is Desplat, who was the original composer. He's now been replaced by Lorne Balfe. And the reason why I thought this was quite interesting is because of the contrasting styles, right? So Alexandre Desplat has done stuff like the later Twilight movies, the Harry Potter ones, but the like the last two, the Deathly Hallows ones, Zero Dark 30, the new lot of Godzilla, but the first of the new Godzilla.
Yeah.
And you compare that to Lorne Balfe, who's done the Lego Batman movie, Bad Boys, the new Bad Boys, right? So the contrasting style is that basically Alexandre Desplat has got this kind of like very like spooky kind of like style. His style is kind of a bit more, I guess you could say depressing kind of style, more kind of like darker style. Whereas Lorne
Black Widow, being that it's set in Russia, which is there's that cold, grey sort of aesthetic to it.
Which is
vibe this other chick's gonna bring to it.
Yeah, which is the thing. That's why I found it interesting, because it seems to me like, honestly, sorry, Corona's kicking in. Basically, the reason why I kind of found like Black Widow to be quite interesting was that you've got this storyline, and you've got this spy storyline. It seems to be going like the Winter Soldier kind of route. And then you've also got that spooky, darker kind of soundtrack that you get from this guy. And then it seems to be like they've decided, okay, well, we're going to go more for a more, dare I say it, Marvel-y style of music kind of thing, which is, when you watch Bad Boys, it still does have like, dark parts in it and stuff like that, but it's generally more kind of like an upbeat kind of entertaining kind of film, and I guess that is the route. Yeah, that's the kind of route that they want to go for, rather than a Russian spy thriller kind of film. In a way, I'm just wondering, maybe the reason why they're going for that is to because they kind of know, like, whatever I say about Disney and Marvel, they're fantastic business people and they know their audience, right? So I'm just thinking, like, when people get out of this, are they going to want to watch something that is a darker spy thriller, or are they going to want to watch somebody going and kicking ass and like being entertaining?
Music can make a lot of difference, man, because it can add to a dour vibe of a movie, or it can really inject energy into a scene, and maybe they feel it just needed a little more energy, a little more electricity. Maybe that's what this woman can inject into it.
Yeah, exactly. Because the when you think about those films that he has done, they are pretty dark. Like, pretty much all of them is like really kind of like dark movie. Even when you say, okay, Twilight is not that dark, but actually like the later ones, when they're getting towards the battle and stuff, especially the themes are very dark. And the Harry Potter ones are quite dark, and especially that first Godzilla, that film was like it was dark, it was difficult to see anything. But also, it was dark in terms of its theme and its music and all that kind of stuff. Whereas the new Godzilla has a much more upbeat and kind of like entertaining kind of soundtrack. So yeah, it could be the right way to go around. Just it'll be interesting to tell, man. So guys, we were working around some kind of ideas, and I put on the Facebook page that obviously there's going to be a situation now where we are going to be in an absence of news for a while, right? So I kind of put it out to you guys. What would you want to see on the channel? So one thing that somebody wrote was they actually want us to put the Talking at the Movies podcast on our news feed. So we'll do that. So we'll definitely get that kind of shown in there. But also at the same time, they want us to one guy, I can't remember his name now. I think I texted it to you, didn't I?
Oh yeah.
What was that guy's name? I'm just gonna look back a second. Ravi. The guy called Ravi. He was asking for like a round robin tournament, a comic book film. So I didn't quite know what you meant, so I just asked him to kind of clarify it. And basically what it was is that each person kind of chooses a comic book film from the same era, and then you fight it out to see who wins. Then it moves on to the next round. So he gave examples. So for example, you would have Batman Begins versus Iron Man, and then we both talk about why we think each thing should win, and then it will go against each other, and then whatever winner goes through, and then it will go through to the next stage. And then we have, quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals, basically, until we work it out. So me and Ed, I guess, are going to have to work out different films that fit in that. I'm kind of thinking already Winter Soldier versus Dark Knight. We can't have stuff like Avengers versus Justice League. I mean, you can't make me defend Justice League.
No, that's not fair. That's not fair.
I don't want to be doing Guardians of the Galaxy versus Suicide Squad, because I don't want you
have to. That's the point. You have to find a way to justify your abomination. You can't just put all these amazing movies of Christopher Nolan up against friggin' Iron Man 2. Come on, that ain't fair.
Oh, those when they have those lawyers, right? And they go in and they're like, okay, you're defending Jeffrey Dahmer today, and you know what he's done. But you have to like go try and defend him to the court and try and like get him. That's basically what you're sending me in to do. I'm basically Ted Bundy's lawyer, basically, when it comes to Suicide Squad and stuff like that. So yeah, that was an interesting idea. I think we could do that. Also, somebody who put his name as Anon was saying, can you guys do some watch throughs? Didn't say watch throughs, anything. But can you guys
thinking about that? Because we've got the YouTube there, guys. At the moment, we're just putting up the audio of the podcast. You can check it out. Voltron Network, spelled just like the anime, but not ripped off from that. Wink, wink. But yeah, you can check out Voltron Network on YouTube, or just DC versus Marvel podcast, or Talking at the Movies podcast, and you could just find audio versions. But I was thinking, yeah, maybe through Zoom or something, if we could find a day, we can just sit and watch. Just do commentaries.
Want something. Yeah, and do commentaries. Yeah, so I'll put it out there, see what commentaries people want and stuff like that, because we need something entertaining to help us through this mission, man. So anyway, guys, we basically, if you want to get in contact with us, you can email us on dcbsmarvelpod@gmail.com. You can also go to the Facebook page, which is the most active, which is DCBS Marvel Podcast. And you can also go to the website, which is dcbsmarvelpodcast.com. Also, Eds, where else can they find you, man?
You can find me on Talking at the Movies podcast. Go check that out. This week, we're going to be arguing about whether Picard was worth I don't know how many months it was that went on for. When did it start? I've just lost track of time. But arguing whether that was worth it. Talking about Westworld and whatever little news is out there, but we find stuff to talk about. Oh, Tiger King. That's the big talking point right now.
Tiger King.
Amazing.
Tiger King, man. I heard a
Amazing.
podcast about that like a while back, where and it's just crazy the twists and turns that are going on there. So I haven't actually watched the show, but if it's anything like that,
watch
that
it,
podcast,
dude. Watch it. It's insane.
I'll,
insane.
I'll check it out. I'll check it out, man. So yeah, guys, you can see us on all those platforms. We'll be back bringing you guys, some stuff there. And my next thing, I will get round to, basically watching BVS Ultimate, and doing, Zach's commentary and my own commentary at the same time there as well. Then me and Eds will go and watch some stuff, man. I'd like to watch Winter Soldier again,
Yeah. Cool.
I think I'm just wondering if we could do something like that. So, or Bloodshot. Anyways, guys,
don't forget, guys, subscribe to Voltron Network on YouTube. That's where you can get both our podcast audios and various other bonuses once we get our ish together.
yeah, and I will now I know that's live. I'll put that on the Facebook page there as well. And there's an Instagram page as well, which we've got, which is DC vs Marvel podcast. I think DC vs Marvel podcast. Tomorrow, guys, if you want to see, I will be on Film God's Instagram. We're doing an Instagram live, just talking about everything. So if you guys want to check that out, I know a lot of you guys are fans of his and have come to our channel from there. So yeah, check that out, and I'll be on Instagram there tomorrow about 6 p.m. GMT. So until then, guys, we'll see you again next time.
Bye.